Daniel Smith paints, not your typical palette. It's kind of split primary, and it includes rainbow colors, but not your typical colors. So it took me a while to decide which colors to put in this palette. I like to do abstract landscapes, so I like granulating colors. And I got a couple of colors in here that are not granulating. However, I wanted to get some good darks in here. But we'll start, and I will name the colors as I'm putting them in. Now, I'm not going to fill these pans. This is the Mijello palette. I love this palette. I have probably several. I have one with M. Graham paints, one with Daniel Smith, Jean Haynes paints. I have one with Mission Gold paints. So this is a really good palette. It is one of these blue palettes, watercolor palette. It's a Mission Gold or Mijello. And this little thing comes out, and what I usually do is after I get my palette done, I'll make a swatch and put that under here, and then put that mixing palette back on, and then mix my paints here. Sometimes I'll mix my paints here, but these colors I am planning on using straight. So I have done some test mixing. So let's get these back on here so I can start. I had them in somewhat of an order. One of these colors is Davinci, but I love this color. I tested this color against Moonglow that have the same pigments in it, and I like the Davinci better. So I put that one on there. Let's see, do I have all of them in frame? Yes. So, okay, so we'll start. This is Buff Titanium. I keep this on my palette for mixing, usually, instead of white. It is just a good color to give your other colors sort of a pastel creaminess to them. Now, I'm not going to fill these wells all the way, so that if I want to, I can just pop them out, and they're easier to pop out if, you know, they're not filled all the way. Plus, I can just load that with water and get a good, harder to reactivate. So there's Buff Titanium. And one thing too, you might want to prep your palette. I already did by washing it out. This is just some dried paint from the lid. Washing it out with a magic eraser or a little bit of toothpaste to make your colors not bead up on them. So the next color I'm going to put down is Nickel Azo Yellow. And this is a yellow that's good for mixing, and I really love the way it moves into other colors. So that's the reason I chose this yellow over like a Hansa or a cadmium. And my next yellow is a natural color, a natural yellow. So I chose raw sienna over yellow ochre, again, because of the way it moves into other colors. I love that. I love that magic of watercolor and how it flows into each other. It looks a little brown here in the palette, but it does come off as a natural yellow. Make sure I'm in frame. I'm going to check that every now and then because I have such a small space I'm working with. The next one is going to be my orange color, which is Duochrome Autumn Mystery. That, again, this is one of Daniel Smith's luminescent color watercolors, and it just moves beautifully, and it has a sheen and sparkle to it that I like. It looks beautiful with leaves, and like I said, I'm just going to put about half. Okay, the next one is Red Fuchsite Genuine. Now this is a little bit, this has sparkle to it. This is a primatek color, and it has sparkle to it, and it's just gorgeous, but it leans a little bit more towards orange than it does red, so this is going to be my warm red. Okay, and the next one is Naptide Maroon. This is a granulating color. It is so pretty. It is, you know, just a deep maroon color, and you'll see after I do my swatches, and I'm going to use that as my cool red. Dark, beautiful in landscapes, and it mixes well with other colors, so I really like that. Okay, so here we got a primatek color, several primatek colors in a row. This one is Hematite Violet Genuine. This has a peachy tone with some black granulation. It's really pretty. I really like it for rocks. It's beautiful. Okay. And then I wanted a dark purple on my palette. Just a really good purple, so I chose Amethyst Genuine. I like its sparkle, but it mixes really well with greens to make a really dark olive or hunter green color. See, all this stuff is going off, that dried pigment's going off in my palette. I'll just blow it off. So this is Amethyst Genuine. Okay, so the next one is Kyanite Genuine. It's a beautiful blue with lots and lots of sparkle. So it's a primatek color. I really love this color. I almost prefer it over any other blue that I have. It's sort of a denim color, so, but just with lots of sparkle. So I'm going to put that right here. Now, I wanted a blue that was, you know, I have several blue tones on here, but ultramarine does granulate well, and it mixes well with just about anything. So I'm going to put that on my palette. Okay, and then I wanted a dark. I had trouble deciding between Indigo and Payne's Gray. They're very, very similar. However, I just liked Indigo a little bit better, so I decided to put that on my palette. And I'm going to put it with the blues. I'm trying to put this in rainbow order. Okay, now this next one is not a Daniel Smith paint. It has the same pigments in it that Moonglow has, but they must be different quantities because I love the way this one granulates better than Moonglow. So I am going to put this on my palette. It's a Davinci. It's called Artemis. It's got some red. Oh, it's wanting to kind of separate already. I might have to stir that with a toothpick. Okay. And then I wanted to put Cobalt Turquoise on there because it is just a really good granulating color. It mixes well with others too. All right, now when I start in with my greens, this Duochrome Oceanic, it's a luminescent color, and it's sort of kind of like a turquoise with some gold. It's iron oxide color with some white and mica. So it's a, let's see if I can see the series. It's got PW20, PW8, and iron oxide. It's really pretty. Series 1 color. It's greenish, but it's just really pretty. I just really like it. And it does move into other colors well. So here for my green, instead of sap green or undersea green, I decided to go with green Apatite Genuine. It is a primatek color, and it mixes well. If I wanted to get that undersea green look, then I would mix it with a little bit of Lunar Black. So I'm going to put that right there. Or it's got some brown in it too, I think. I could mix it with the Bronzite Genuine. So then I'm going to go with Bronzite Genuine, which is a primatek color. That green Apatite Genuine was a primatek as well. So a lot of these colors are primatek. And then this Bronzite Genuine, it's sort of, it's not like a burnt sienna. It's a brown, maybe like a burnt sienna with sparkle. I'm not for sure. It's not as red as a burnt sienna. It's more of a neutral. And this burnt Bronzite Genuine primatek is a little bit darker. And they both mix well with that Kyanite Genuine to make a really beautiful gray. Okay, and then here is Lunar Black, and beautiful granulating color. And you can mix this with anything to really get that cool separation of colors. So after those dry, I'll blow that off or take a wet paper towel. And so I'll stop the video and I will set up my swatch sheet so we can swatch these colors. And I just cut a piece out and I just eyeballed it and made it fit my upper part of my palette. And I just, like I said, I just eyeballed it, made a half line, and then took and counted and labeled my colors the way I have it put in. So I am going to swatch these colors, and I am using a Princeton Neptune 1/2 inch square wash. I like this brush for swatching because it puts it down in a nice square. Got my water over here to clean my brush, and we're just going to start. Now this buff titanium, it does, these paints aren't totally dry yet, but they've kind of formed a skim on top of them. This buff titanium, the binder separated a little bit. I stirred it up and it still separated a little bit. So, you know, I'm not going to let myself worry about it. I'm just going to incorporate it as I go. All right. So let me check and see if you are getting all that in the picture. I'd like to get that a little closer, so I might move my pans over to the side and zoom in on this swatch card. So you can see the colors a little bit better. Okay, so the next color is Nickel Azo Yellow. Oh, you know what? And I labeled them wrong. I put raw sienna, but in my palette it's Nickel Azo Yellow. And I'm just using this as a reference for color. So what I will do is I'll just mark that out and switch those color names. You know, this is just for my reference to know where my colors are. And I put it in the same format as my palette. Okay, the next one is raw sienna. And I may get them to the point where they're touching and they might bleed over into one another. I'm a little OCD about that, but I'm gonna try not to let it bother me, because this is just reference for myself. The next one is Duochrome Autumn Mystery. That is a really pretty color. I love that. Now this is just non-traditional colors laid out in a traditional form. Okay, the next one is Red Fuchsite Genuine. And you can do this with any colors that you particularly like. I just really like these colors. And I think they're wonderful for abstract landscapes. Okay, the next one is Naptide Maroon. Oh, this is a really pretty color too. It's like a burgundy. It mixes really well. I mean, well, like with ultramarine, and maybe we'll do a few mixes if I can not waste a bunch of time. Okay, I think this one is Hematite Violet. Now this is a weird color, and I probably wouldn't use it in any mixes. However, I think it's beautiful for rocks on their own, because the pigments separate and it leaves a peachy undertone and black granulation. It's really beautiful. Okay, and the next one is Amethyst. All right. Next one is one of my favorite colors on the palette is Kyanite Genuine. It takes a little coaxing to get going, especially when it's totally dried out. Like I said, these are still in a form, but you see how that is like a denim color? Oh, it's so pretty. And the sparkle is just amazing. Okay, here's a traditional ultramarine. And almost all these are non-staining, so they can be lifted. Now the indigo might be staining a little bit. Okay, which is next? The indigo. I chose this one over Payne's Gray for a dark. I probably should have. See, oh, I love that. I love that. And it can be lightened. Okay, the next one's that Artemis from Davinci. And it has, it's not dry at all, but it has some qualities to it that the pigments separate really pretty. I just love that color. I bought it in a huge tube because Davinci sells 37 ml tubes, and those are these big ones compared to 15 ml. So, you know, if you really love a color, considering, you know, where you can get 37 ml tubes, Davinci is one. I think American Journey and Winsor & Newton has some, not all their colors are in 37 milliliter tube. All right, now this is Cobalt Turquoise. Oh, really pretty. Really pretty. I think I'm gonna like this palette. You see how this Hematite Violet is separating out. It is really beautiful. So once it dries, I'll hold it up closer to the camera. All right, so now is Duochrome Autumn Mystery, or no, this is Duochrome Oceanic. Really pretty, really light. Really light turquoise color. I'll put a little bit more on there. And it has some gold mica in it. It's just so beautiful. You know, who says that you have to use traditional colors to watercolor paint? You can, but you know, hey, try something new. All right, the next one is Green Apatite Genuine. Really, really pretty. I'm gonna get some of that water or kind of thin it out so you can see the granulation. It's really pretty. Get the granulation to really show up, you really kind of have to use a lot of water. But that mixes really pretty with this Naptide Maroon to make a really dark foresty green, and also mixes really well with this Amethyst to make, you know, a dark, really dark. It's beautiful. Okay, this next one is Bronzite Genuine. little bit dry. Now some of these primatek colors have, you kind of got to coax them a little bit. So they work really well out of the tube, but you know, if you spray your palette and let your palette sit for a minute, it'll wake those pigments right up. Okay, and the next one is burnt bronzite, which is a little bit darker. These mix really well with the blues on your palette and the kyanite to make a really pretty gray. They also mix really well with the green Hematite Genuine to make a really pretty darker green. So I just love it. I really am happy with the colors I picked. And here is Lunar Black. This is my reference swatch sheet to keep in my palette. Put a little bit more pigment on there so you can see how that, I don't know what kind of, it's just a synthetic brush I think, but I think it's faux squirrel or something like that. The bristles are real nice. They're not too soft and not too stiff. So, okay, so there is my swatch sheet for my palette. And once that dries, I'll put that under this. So then I do have a little bit of mixing area up there because 9 times out of 10, the paper I use will be, I'm not going to put that down on there yet because it's not dry. So look at that Hematite Violet. It's just so pretty. It's got that peachy undertone, that kyanite. I put ultramarine on there because it's a go-to color. That Artemis. You see how that's separating out with the reds and the blues? So pretty. Oh, look at that Duochrome Oceanic. So pretty. And the bronzite and the burnt bronzite and the Lunar Black. Oh my goodness. And the green Naptide Genuine. That's beautiful granulation. Let me go back around here. That Duochrome Autumn Mystery and the red Fuchsite. Let's see if that kyanite. Yeah, look at that kyanite and the way it sparkles. Oh, you guys, love this palette. Can't wait to use it. Okay, that Cobalt Turquoise, it granulates pretty too. Okay, talk to you later, guys. Bye.